Ben, Sam, and Ken are on separate journeys to defeat the menacing Vile Dragon. But let's just say luck isn't on their side. If only there was a way for them to find each other and band together. Well, that's why there's Band. It's a mobile app that allows people to come together using common interests. With Band, you can find fellow gamers, chat, schedule gaming sessions, and conduct polls. Stage epic battles with friends while sharing videos and photos along the way. So try Band today. Band. Be together.
Hello, folks, and welcome. We've got some Dota 2 here for all of you. I'm Llama. I'm going to be joined by Gorgon, and we're doing UC Davis versus UCLA. And Gorgon, I'm going to ask you the most important question of the night. Obviously, we got to discuss the mascots.
5 seconds.
Yeah, well, maybe. We've been seeing a lot of UC schools, and they all have really weird mascots. Or mascots. They probably have weird mascots, too.
I don't know if they are required to own a mascot. It's not very common, I feel, in today's society to own a mascot.
Well, no, I mean, these aren't East Coast elite schools, Llama. They probably
point.
aren't required to have a mascot, although maybe they should be. But, like, the Aggies is such a weird... That's such a weird mascot.
I believe it stands for agriculture. I should know this. My sister, I believe, attends that school.
So I went to Michigan State University, and in the early 1900s, they had to change their mascot from something. I don't remember what it was. And there was a vote between the Spartans and the Aggies. The Aggies are literally, there's a Texas school, I think the University of Texas or some school down there is also the Aggies. And these are not agricultural schools anymore. I feel like...
Well, UC Davis still is, at the very least. But LA, they have the Bruins.
But that didn't go with the Aggies.
They've got a bear, maybe. I didn't know the Bruin was a bear. But I actually looked at some MMRs that were being shown. And UC Davis has 2 players, one 7K and one 6.7K, which is...
Yeah.
I don't know whether LA will match up, but we got a draft. And we've got Marana picked up.
We cast UC Davis, I think, the first night here, and if I recall correctly, they averaged for their entire team above 6 KMMR. Like, they're a very, very, very good team in terms of individual skill. Plus, they don't have Leaf Eater captaining them. So for the Bruins, yeah.
That definitely seems to be a disadvantage. Would you like to break that down?
Well, Leaf Eater... is, of course, the gentleman known most for the Necrophos Ancients strategy on Reddit. He's one of the Reddit mods. And I wouldn't trust this guy with the draft if you paid me, to be honest. He's going to try to do some cheeky... they're the ones that asked for last pick, too, right?
No,
they wanted the last pick?
I think Davis wanted last pick. LA graciously said that Davis can get whatever they want, which, It turned out teams just didn't want to switch sides or move or anything, so just kind of left the lobby as it was, just hit go.
Okay, well, maybe I've spoken too soon, but asking for last pick for some cheesy bullshit seems like the sort of thing Leaf Eater would do, and I hope he watches this.
Excellent. Well, I'm glad that we've already shown how thoroughly biased we are as casters.
Yeah,
We've
there we
got...
go. But UCLA, legitimately, UCLA was in the top 4 last year. They did very, very well. And I would expect this to be a pretty good series.
Yeah, I'm excited to see. And I think that it's really interesting. UC Davis's opener, Marana and Axe, not really a combo we often see together, especially the Axe before LA has revealed what carry they're going.
Yeah, it's, well, the Aggies ran Axe when we casted them before, too. They just have a really good Axe player. And when you have a player who's really good at a hero, you see this all the time with Invoker. You see it sometimes with Tinker. Right? If you have a player who's just really, really good with... Run that hero. It doesn't matter, especially in the Collegiate Star League, where comfort is key.
I really want to stress that, right? If you have a hero you're super good on, this is the place to just pick something that you're comfortable with that can help you work together with your team. And UCLA is actually taking years on this pick. They have burnt super deep into reserve time. I was double checking that we weren't accidentally needing to re-go, and that's an Alk. I'm a little surprised to see the Alk picked up into this already very aggressive Marana Axe.
Yeah. An Ancient Apparition here would be a really good pick, I think, for the Aggies. They already have an Initiator in the Axe. They have really strong team fight and potential initiation with the Marana. They don't necessarily need a frontline or even frontline adjacent support, but that just shuts Alchemist down so bad. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That is a good ban, because that would be my first pick if I were the Aggies. Snatch it right up.
I feel that for LA, they might be worried about some other good ways at catching the Alk out, contesting his jungle, and the Axe already. That's actually something kind of interesting. The Axe already is a good tool for if LA is stacking for their Alchemist. Axe might be able to drive by and get some of those, but it'll have to depend on exactly where he is, the game timing. For Aggies, they're looking for another ban out here to accompany that Luna.
Yeah, and I'm trying to remember how the Aggies run in Axe, if they run it jungle or if they run it off lane. I'm not 100% sure, but on the... presumably the Bruins have done some research in anticipation of this match. I would hope so, at least, and they should know how that Axe is run. Morphling, another hero that I believe the Aggies like to run, historically speaking.
I do also wonder if the Morphling pick is a little bit of a block pick. Obviously, it's nice to have because you've already gotten rid of the AA, but Shadow Demon, you're kind of expecting a Drow to go with that, a Luna, the Luna, of course, being banned out, so I wonder if Davis were like, hey, we maybe have to worry about some other types of sieges that can take advantage of Shadow Demon's extra illusions.
Yeah. Obviously, there's the Shadow Demon illusions, but then on top of that, Luna gives Alchemist a lot of damage very early on. With Chemical Rage, not quite level 1, but at level 1 Chemical Rage, I think he is tied for the lowest or very close to the lowest base attack time in the game. He does have the lowest base attack time in the game at level 3 Chemical Rage, and you add on to that the damage aura from the Luna, and you actually can soak a lot of extra damage out of 1 Chemical Rage with either the Vengeful Spear or the Luna hanging around.
Yeah, and it's also just... I'll have to see how UCLA managed to use it, but the Shadow Demon first pick, I think, is... It's interesting because they didn't immediately go for something like the Luna, but they could be thinking here that it would be a good way to save. Now that the Axe has come out, you can definitely, if you're quick enough, get the disruption up on the Axe before he calls, so that people can run away or disrupt the ally who is being taunted. So there are definitely options now that we're seeing some of the picks come out, and it is an Ogre because that's the rules. This hero is super strong right now.
Yeah, he's just a good harasser. He's good in lane. He provides a lot of value with the Morphling because you can go ahead and throw the Bloodlust on him. But moreover, because of the way that Replicate interacts with Morphling and Bloodlust, you can safely throw Bloodlust onto the Morphling and have him zip across the map and be pushing with Bloodlust without having the Ogre Magi waddle his way over there. That helps. I don't necessarily know that this is the best lineup to run Ogre Magi with, because there's not a lot of targets for the Bloodlust. Usually you want at least 2 really solid targets. If you are going to be max scaling that Bloodlust, say Bloodlust one more time, Bloodlust. If you're going to be max scaling, you want to get a lot of utility out of it, right? Which means you want to be max casting it, maybe on yourself, carry, and 1 other core at least. And so far, the Aggies don't really have that kind of lineup. In addition, Alchemist can get himself both a Manta and a BKB. He'll probably go for a Manta build here. But that means that your Fire Blast and Unrefined Fire Blast potentially are not as strong against the Alchemist, not very strong against the Lifestealer either because of the Rage. So I think he is a strong hero. I don't think that you were wrong there, but I do think that it really could go either way in this specific draft.
Yeah, I think that there's some interesting counters and then non-counters here from the standpoint of a Lifestealer obviously does good work against an Axe. Depending on what Morphling has morphed at the time, it can also do good work against that Morphling. And I just find it interesting though, because since Axe also somewhat counters the Lifestealer with that BKB piercing hold in the Berserker's Call. So it's just kind of some there back and forth synergy. What do you think? I've been assuming this is a core Morphling. There's a small possibility this may be the Aggies, a team who do like running the support Morphling.
Do they?
I don't know. I'm saying they might be. I'm just saying.
I think we've seen them run the core.
You just think it's.
I think there's very little chance.
And this is suddenly UCLA go full greed. What is going on?
It's Leaf Eater, man. He's the guy that invented Necrophos Ancients. Of course, they're going full greed.
This is really like. I
think it's just Slark offlane. And honestly, Slark, to me, Slark will always be an offlane hero, because that's how he was played for years as a standard offlane. He can still do it just as well as he used to be able to do it. And there's not a lot of stun really to hurt him. He has a pounce to escape. He's got Dark Pact to get out of potentially silences, although there are no silences here. I think he'll probably be fine unless he just gets outplayed. Alternatively, we could even have an aggressive tri-lane with the Lifestealer line and Shadow Demon, and then the Slark doing a solo safe lane against the Axe. That might be a difficult lane for the Slark. So I'm trying to think this out loud.
They can try to 2-1-2. They can try to run the classic kind of 3 solos, and then you have roaming supports. A Storm Spirit very vulnerable before that level 6, and it is not too difficult, even with an Alchemist, as long as he gets 1 point of that stun, to get a kill off with those 2 supports. But as you said, going to be very interested to kind of see where everybody goes. And speaking of, we're going to load ourselves in.
All right, so I do think that wherever we end up here, probably against the Axe, some heavy TPing up top. So it will be in off lane, at least dual lane, if not tri lane. Lifestealer looks to be heading up that direction too.
Perhaps all 5 heroes in the top lane. No, I do think it's very. It's kind of an interesting lineup for what they're gonna do. You think Lifestealer's going up there? Oh, maybe he's just taking an odd way out of base.
I think he's doing one of these guys, but
Yes, Gorgon. How could you set it to the fact that UC Davis had already won a game, Gorgon? Wow, what a mistake you made there, Gorgon.
Wait, what? What did I say?
Check chat.
I don't understand. What did I say? Didn't they already win a series?
I'm throw Gorgon under the bus, so to explain to folks, we'll fix it next lobby. I inherited the lobby and I didn't check the settings. I was just throwing you under the bus. Yeah, I inherited the lobby, so I didn't even think to check it.
I thought he was stream sniping, because the stream is just now getting to the point where I was talking about how the Aggies did really well in their first series of the season, and I thought he was listening to us 5 minutes ago and shit talking that I was talking them up. And
No, it's just we inherited the lobby and I just completely blanked on checking if there would be a counter. Obviously, it keeps the settings from the last game that was hosted, in which a team was 1-up from last game. So, but yeah, it's just throwing you right under the bus. So the teams don't, they did say, UCLA did say UC Davis gets whatever they want. So
yeah, they did. They really need to specify if they don't want
Exactly.
to see stuff like this.
you've got to be careful. So as folks are restarting, I do right now favor UC Davis. I just feel that UCLA's lineup is a bit greedy, and I worry about it getting online at the same time that Axe may have this blink. Storm Spirit doesn't need so many items when you have someone like an Axe initiating a Morphling be able to waveform into the combat.
Yeah, it depends on how this Morphling builds, right? Because if the Storm is going to be the mid-game control, and the Axe is going to be your combat initiator, then the Storm is still going to need, bottom line, some base items and a Bloodstone, right? But if the Morphling is going to go for a more push build to try and utilize some early Bloodlust and just kind of engage very early and be active, then the Storm doesn't really need as much because he doesn't need to contribute as much, especially with the Mirana here potentially able to scale into a third core as well. Both these teams drafted fairly greedy.
Yeah, ultimately, I mean, they're not the. We're a bit more used to seeing traditional kind of just initiator off lanes and then maybe one core that requires a lot of farm. But, I think that there's a little bit more flexibility when you're not at that competitive level because I think that in general in Dota, people have a lot of trouble punishing greed. And so, looking at both lineups, how do you take advantage of either side being greedy, right? You can have your supports roam maybe a little bit, but again, until the blink is up on the Axe, it might just take a bit of time for either side to take advantage.
Yeah. So now that we've got our teams back, why don't we run through them real quick? On UCLA, the Radiant side, we've got Leaf Eater rolling around on that Slark. Mr. Oh my god. On Life Stealer, Esky is giving us the finger on the Lion. Dumb Pubs is trashing the Alchemists. And Servants, Aber is on the Shadow Demon. The names in the Collegiate Star League are always a little interesting.
You say that, but then we head over to UC Davis, where they're all tagged up properly, perfectly wearing their names, except for Biology, who screwed things up. But he's on the Ogre Magi, so we don't expect much. We're gonna
The
see
foreign exchange student. He's tagged properly for what he
excellent. We've got Twitch memes playing that Morphling Lucky 57 Hearts Ms. Pig. I feel like there are many ways I can interpret that. Playing that Stone Spirit Chocobo on Mirana, and finally Axe being played by Offlaner. Oh, it wasn't actually a greater than sign, or is it them flaming each other?
I hope it's greater than Miss
Pigs,
Pigs, not into Miss Pigs, because that's a little salacious even for the late.
No, I thought it was like the how some players tag up with like
Miss Pigs.
No, I didn't mean into. I meant like the other one was love, but now I think it is greater than. Or maybe they're both interested in Miss Pig.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't know. They maybe
a little bit of a love triangle going on here.
Exactly. So you just really
Some
don't know.
Internal strife. Let's see how that plays out for them. Yeah, this is going to be an aggressive tri-lane, it looks like. Nailed it. And I do like the Lifestealer against the Axe solo much better than the Slark against the Axe solo. This is, I think this is an okay call as long as they can get kills.
He's got a lot better options of what he can do. And speaking of that aggressive tri-lane, they've already caught out the Chocobo. Yep. Oh, one more auto attack, and they will get themselves first blood. Nicely done, UCLA.
Yeah, Mirana is not the sort of hero you can get caught out with very early. One of the reasons that she's kind of not played as an offlaner nearly as much is that her survivability early on with only a level 1 leaf is pretty negligible. She starts out with very low armor, and she is super vulnerable to stuns.
Wow, it looks like they're doing Morphling mid over what Morphling just is lane swapping, never mind. I thought maybe they were going to just try to swap Morphling into mid, but he is now going back up top. I am thoroughly confused by the plan.
He's wasting a lot of time is what he's doing. Unless this is a support Morphling, which could be the case, but do you really want the person who gave first blood to be your carry? Also, he's got a bunch of wards, so that Mirana is not your carry.
Mirana does not have the items to support this being the carry. I think that there was an attempted lane swap there, but maybe deciding they should do it with TPs, it's a bit costly now. Unfortunately, this means that...
He already got to the mid lane! He could have gotten down bottom faster and coming up here and getting a TP. He has decided to stick it out in this lane, I think. I think they've decided to try and make a return kill with an arrow combo once they all hit level 2.
Yeah, It's a odd one, but we'll have to see. Thailand needs a little bit more time till people hit level 2 and we see some action. Meanwhile, down in mid, or relatively down, we have about even CS, a little bit more denies coming out of the storm.
I think really the lane to watch here is the top lane, like if we have to make a choice. But don't forget that this bottom lane exists because Lifestealer, this is a tough matchup, even as a Lifestealer. Any one-on-one lane where the Axe is allowed to just cut your creeps like this, all he needs is a Stout Shield and some Tingos to get up some levels. Lifestealer does have a fair amount of lane sustain, and against a solo Axe, he does not need levels in Rage, which does allow him to prioritize Feast a little more heavily, but even so, he will have to play careful and close to this tower and make sure that he's managing his aggro very well.
It's not fun being the Lifestealer here. That's just...
Yeah. But it's a much better matchup than the Slark, I think.
Yeah, 100%. So, a slug, you have no tools for sustain, you have no tools for making sure that you can really hit all of the creeps. That can be worrying, but anyway, it does look like Axe, I'm expecting a very early Blink Dagger unless UCLA rotate. They have the right heroes for rotating if they want. Maybe can send the supports down there if Axe starts to get a little bit low.
UCLA can't afford to rotate here until they get a kill in the Morphling, I think. Otherwise, this entire top lane experiment kind of falls down, and they're doing a good job of keeping the Morphling under the water right now, right? He's got 2 last hits, the Lifestealer is 12, the Axe is 13. But if they kill him, they really they can almost afford to ignore him for about 3 or 4 minutes as they take towers around that 12 or 13 minute mark. As that mid game starts to break open. And yeah, here we see an attempt to get that level 2 attack going on with the Mirana. A little bit early on that arrow. Still no Fire Blast to back it up from the Ogre Magi.
It's such a hard arrow to hit. This isn't a lane that gives them a setup on UC Davis. They really will need just a damn good arrow.
And you have to hit the Shadow Demon too. Otherwise he's just going to defensive disrupt and then you're fighting on even ground. There's another arrow attempt. He is shooting for the Shadow Demon. Like, he has the right target, but he's being a little too eager, I think.
I think it's very, very difficult. We're going to see both mid laners think about going for the top rune, which is a haste. It will go to the side of the Alchemist, but still in mid, yeah, it's basically even. Storm slightly up on denies. Yep. Probably just that nice ranged advantage can do a bit
that
more.
Should go pretty even all the way through. The Alchemist doesn't really have a mechanism for killing the Storm solo. Especially if he does a standard build out the mid lane, which
we have an engagement up in top. They managed to take down the Lion. Now working on the Slog, he pounced, but maybe not the way he wants to go. Mirana uses the lead to get some more attack speed, and now finally the Shadow Demon, left alone, has a lot of stacks up on this Ogre Magi, but that is only level 1 stack, so Ogre will be fine.
I'm looking for... I missed the beginning of that. Did she hit an arrow to open that up?
I do not believe the... maybe the arrow hit. It looks like...
She hit the Lion with the arrow, and the Lion was dead within 7 seconds. Wow, it took 7 seconds to kill.
Yeah, the arrow wasn't what... So that's why I was surprised, because when I checked up on there as the Lion was getting a little bit low, it wasn't the arrow. They were just auto-attacking him, because he was obviously a little bit out of position at that point.
Yeah. Well, you know, there's also, like, arrows a long stun. She's taken these pretty far arrows, so that was probably a 3 or 3.5 second stun. She's going for it again. You have to be very careful of your UCLA now. Like, this started off well with that early gank, but the fact that they didn't put up any vision, or that they had their vision dewarded because they blocked a camp, that hurts a lot. I'm not sure why they blocked this camp, to be honest, because if you're running an aggressive tri lane and you've got decent vision going out this way and that way, and your opponents pull, you can just go kill the person who's pulling, right? He's going to have no defensive creeps whatsoever because they're attacking neutrals. But if you block the camp, then your vision is potentially...
Don't worry, I got it on camera. But
Okay,
I was not expecting the run up and dunk. I was expecting the Lifestealer to stay out of range. I'm not sure he realized that the axe had already hit 6. Sometimes you just miss these things if you're not pulling up the hero tab.
Yeah, and that's exactly why we had mentioned that he needs to be very careful in managing both his aggro and his distance. Things are not going well for UCLA.
I think it's also just a really well done job by UC Davis knowing where they can take advantage. They haven't rotated mid yet onto the Alchemist, so he Zalki isn't super pressured, but still, he's now getting firmly outlast hit by the storm after a couple of levels.
Yeah. I mean, Storm is getting low in acid. With the rotation, they might be able to kill Storm. But this Axe could find himself in trouble down here.
Yeah, there are a lot of heroes he's hexed up. There's going to be the Earth Spike as well, and one more auto attack. They finally bring him down, and a pretty big kill, considering he was top of the net worth chart.
Yeah, that's really good. What's not really good is that the Morphling has more net worth than the Slark, even though they devoted tri-lane resources onto this Slark. Fortunately, due to a miss Mirana arrow there, a miscommunication between the Ogre and the Mirana, the Slark will be able to get away here. But the fact that the Morphling's net worth is passing him and starting to close in on the Lifestealer, that's a big problem.
I think something that's also difficult for UCLA, the window for ganking the Storm, I wouldn't say it's closed, but right, it gets a lot harder once the Storm hits 6. You ideally want that earlier smoke, but as you talked about, it's really hard to leave your tri-lane and say, hey Slog, fend for yourself.
There is no level sub at the same.
Okay, they're gonna go for it, but there it is, the zap away that we talked about. And now Ogre coming in, arrow, not gonna hit. Oh, a Hex up onto the Storm Spirit. They are still going. I'm not sure they have the damage, and Alk beginning just to run at them in that Chemical Rage, and he's just gonna kind of pseudo-zone them with his big body.
Arrow in 1 second. They do have to be careful on this reinitiation, because an arrow to the face will mean a kill on almost any of these. Man, I have not seen that lion cosmetic before. The mana drain, that is very distracting.
Oh, the like wavy line mana drain?
Yeah, man, that's like watching the Death Star in blue.
There's a different... It might be this cosmetic. I'm really bad with hats, but I think it's this cosmetic, or there's another one, which makes his
arrow
portrait...
top is going to kill.
Okay, yep,
that's
and that will be good by Slog. This Mirana, like... She definitely had some trouble landing the earlier ones, which I don't think is super her fault. I think it's
not.
difficult.
She was taking very ambitious arrows, but you miss every arrow you don't shoot, right?
I mean, depending on your definition of miss. Anyway, we got a call on the bottom lane. Lifestealer getting close to half health. The Axe still going for this. Lifestealer opens up, trying to get extra lifesteal over there, and oh gosh, it looks like Axe will fall again.
They're doing a really good job of punishing this Axe, considering that's really the only lane where they're able to move in and do heavy punishing. Mid is a bit of a man fight here, but I don't think the Storm can close this kill.
You say that, he is... Oh, Fairy Fire being eaten. Doesn't matter, Storm manages to get it.
Wow.
Really nicely done there.
That was very close, too. Almost didn't have the mana for that, but a really, really nice play by that Storm Spirit. And that honestly was just straight up outplaying his opponent. There's no other way around that. Like, you shouldn't be able to get that kind of a kill onto an Alchemist at this stage.
Yeah, on both sides, it's kind of one of those, hey, the heroes get... Both Storm and Alchemist get harder to kill once they hit 6, but obviously for Storm, there's much more offensive capabilities that also come along with your ultimate, and we just saw that in spades. So, Alk will be now back up, but worryingly, he's an Alchemist and is not top net worth. You're often expecting to really be dominant in that position throughout a game.
Yeah, you're expecting to get about 25% over what a normal carry would get on average, or normal whatever your position is. So out of the mid lane, he should have about 25% over what the Storm has, and he's actually 200 below what the Storm has.
On the upside, though, I think for UCLA... Oh my goodness, the arrow's going to hit. Okay then, well that does help. Unfortunately,
there is rage.
The stun is going to get out. Yeah, he may just kill Ogre Magi here. The call, it's only going to land onto the lion. They managed to get the dunk, but you can see Axe being like, guys, we got to get on out. He may have another dunk here. He needs the lifesteal a little bit lower. He gets the spin, but there's the omelet toggle, and suddenly Axe needs to run for his life, and he falls. Overextended. Shadow Demon is here at the ready, throws out that disruption. More omelet toggling for the lifestealer, and Mirana, she is in a bad spot, manages to throw an arrow, but it is not enough, and the Starfall won't do.
UCD were very, very greedy there, going in on that after they already got a support for support trade, and continuing to pressure onto the lifesteal even though he hadn't used Rage. I mean, the things have been going well for them when they play a little greedy, a little far forward so far this game, but... That was clearly a moment where they got punished.
Yeah, I think a really great job by UCLA, right? Just making sure that they were there, and Lifestealer really knowing his limits.
Yeah, I like how the Axe has rotated mid. The Storm is going to go ahead and knock down some jungle stacks, giving everybody a little surge of gold and experience here. That lets the Ogre Magi just kind of sit bottom and chill and soak as much as he can. Let's take a look at the way that the standings are, because the Lifestealer and the Alchemist has now
Yeah.
come up on top of the Storm.
The deaths by axe here, he has now died 3 times in a row without getting much more, and that is just very painful for him. As you're pointing out, they are going to contest an ancient stack. They should be able to get this without much fanfare from UCLA. Oh gosh, axe. Okay, very close.
Wow! Talk about playing it close. Yeah, that will help him bounce back, though, from some of those kills. The net gain from stealing
no, and Storm over it. No, okay, he will zap away. That was very close.
That's a moment where if you're this alchemist, you really wish that you'd scaled Unstable Concoction, right? It's a non-disjointable stun. Against a Storm Spirit, that's a really, really valuable tool. I think in most cases, the extra damage and reduction of armor from the acid spray is not going to be worth it at level 3 or 4 against the Storm, compared to having Unstable Concoction once that Storm hits 6. Because that would be a dead Storm in that case.
Yeah, it's probably really frustrating meeting this Alk. I understand that the build he was probably hoping to farm a little bit more, maybe even feeling that he needs to catch up. We're going to have Marana get on out, but as you said, one point in that Unstable Concoction would have done wonders.
Yeah, it's really the balance is, will a point of Unstable Concoction now get me a kill before the end of the laning phase? That's what you have to ask yourself. And with a potential,
Storm,
oh boy,
he should be able. Well, it depends on. Okay, I was saying he should be able to zap away, but if this, never mind the finger.
Down.
I was not expecting the finger. I was expecting the. Some people are so good they can time the Earth Spike, like right as you come out of the disruption, making it very difficult to dodge. But the finger will work too. So Eski, well done.
How do they have vision up there? Like,
the
how
ward
are they able
over
to see
on
that?
this side.
Oh, this side. Okay, I only saw the sentry, and I was like, yeah, that ward just got them that kill.
It's really well done. It's a more unusual ward spot, but of course it'll see rotations on the enemy team down towards bottom rune, as you can see from the radiant vision I'm showing. And you don't want it to be in. You don't want your wards necessarily in such an obvious place, because that way they don't get counted.
It really helps mid too, because that alchemist does want to be able to know if people are rotating in on him, as he is a melee mid, and also kind of wants to be able to place his acid spray where the Storm Spirit is going to be sitting in it. And the fact that that ward gives him a little lip of vision up onto this helps a lot.
Oh, okay.
TP.
Yep, a very nice TP. Unfortunately, Marana and Storm thinking about coming in. They don't realize there is mad backup here. They will have lost their stack, so stack for stack, maybe they can get the kill. A nice disruption coming out, and now Marana, she's in a lot of trouble. Storm Spirit should be able to get 1 kill here. Can he find another? He really wants this. The arrow gonna hit, and this Marana doing work, but probably gonna pay for it with her life. Storm should be fine. Bottling up here. Also has a soul ring in case he needs to zip away further. They may think of turning around. The rage is at the ready. Both sides gonna just walk it off some. And maybe gonna re-goose as the rage is down. Slightly missed the timing there on when rage would end. But should signal the end of things.
Yeah. These engagements are honestly going pretty well for UCLA, right? They're opening a lot of space for the Alchemists to catch back up, which is key.
As we say that, will get murdered here. Going to, okay, nice toggling. They just need a little bit more damage though, and there is the head chop that we were waiting for. Storm is low here. Takes 1 thing of poison. He should be fine.
Not enough. Yeah. That's unfortunate. A little, very slightly different play on that would have been the Dead Storm, and that would have been absolutely stellar. Leaf Eater coming in on the Slark, not going to be able to get much done. Honestly, I have not felt the Slark's presence at all, and that's not necessarily...
because of Leaf Eater, but let's just say it might be.
Right.
No, I mean,
this isn't necessarily the stage where an off-lane Slark is supposed to be going. Yeah, especially considering the lane turned on them so hard. But you do need him. If you're going to have a greedy draft like this, everybody needs to be able to get active a little earlier. Right? If you play greedy and you play late, you're giving your opponents way too much time to call the shots.
I think on the upside, he has gone for the Iron Talon kind of catch-up build. He isn't... in a great, like, it's gonna be a late Shadow Blade. Okay, and a nice Tower Deny, okay. That was unfortunate, not realizing the Catapult would be going there, it looks like, from the Morphling, so Morphling will have to contend himself with not as much. I think it's okay. It just depends, especially with the amount they set back the Axe. But I think that now that Axe has the Blink, it looks like he's going to have the Vanguard finished up soon. That could be the real changing moment here for UC Davis and how aggressive they want to get. And Arrow hits again, of course, because this Mirana is a god among women who ride griffins.
Griffin? What?
It's a cat. It's like a panther.
Yeah, it's a cat. Just
Isn't
a
there a
normal
skin where
cat.
it's a griffin?
tiger. It's
a white tiger. It's endangered, and she's just like using it as a workhorse.
That's right. More like a war horse. Ha 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 ha. Yeah, I will say to Leaf Eater's credit, he did ping out this ward. Yeah, he noticed as he walked in that his Shadow Dance turned off, and then actually did a loop around so that he could see exactly when it turned back on and pinged it during that fight.
That's honestly one of the biggest things that I think a Sloth player in the early starts of the game needs to be pointing out every single ward.
Yeah. It's the biggest advantage that he brings you before he manages to get up his first item. And you really, really want to be utilizing it. With the Slark, your opponents really shouldn't ever have vision on your side of the map.
Well, they will find themselves. Shadow Demon is looking like he was buying out there. Axe also going to get the kill on the Lion. Yeah, this is...
What did that Lion think he was going to do, right? What's the best case scenario there? He TPs in as his friend dies, and his opponents leave him alone out of the mercy of their hearts?
I think he had finger up. Maybe he was hoping it was just the Storm Spirit overextending. It was their tier 2. They'd had the Storm be pretty deep near the tier 1 before, and Lion had got lucky. And I think you just hope, hey, it's going to happen again. Unfortunately, this time there were 4. They're going to push down this tier 1. They might go for more.
Yeah, they'll probably back off because this Lifestealer is bringing in the lane pretty deep mid.
Now, Lifestealer looks like he's gone for a Sanj and Yasha, which is not the build I'm used to seeing. I'm much more familiar with the Echo Saber into Deso after the Armlet. How do you feel about a Sanj and Yasha here?
It's okay. It's going to be better for extended fights, right? The Echo Saber Desolator build is really for knocking down towers and heroes very quickly, but not necessarily for...
Oh, Storm down bottom. He's trying to give it a go onto the Alk again, but realizing he can't do it as easily since Alk is now level 11. But the arrow, just misses the self-stun. Yeah. Not often we get to say that.
Yeah, the Dire will back off under cover of smoke here and try to loop back around. We'll see if they're able to find themselves something.
There are 4 down here now. It's very dangerous if they want to try to go on this for Davis, right? It's, again, near a tower. Unless all of them come, which it is looking like they will, they're outnumbered. There they go, managed to get the call on to the Shadow Demon. He is getting very low. The arrow will whiff thanks to the disruption. They do manage to bring down the Axe. Of course, the Lion went first, and now Shadow Demon getting very low. Holy Hannah, did Alchemist melt as well once they'd gotten a hold of him. And the Rage, it is back off cooldown. Storm Spirit with no mana. Slock, though, tries to finish one on the back lines, but they just TP away. And just as we were saying, LA was doing great in these fights. Davis take one convincingly.
That's a 17 charge Bloodstone now on the Storm Spirit. This game
Surprise.
Went from fairly close and in UCD's favor to really dangerous for UCLA, right? The Morphling has been, the Slark's been trying to contest him up here, but there's not a lot of Slark can do. Slark's not been doing the best job ever contesting this Morphling, who is sitting pretty well up above him. Not really in the same ballpark as the Lifestealer, fortunately, which is really the hero to compare him to, but even so. Alchemist did just get a Radiance, but this Storm Spirit's in a position to just kill supports.
Speaking of Storm Spirit attempting to kill supports, he may get this one. Nicely done. I didn't quite see if the Vortex or the Ogre Magi stun stopped that, but it doesn't matter. They got the line before the TP finished.
Yeah, they both went out at about the same time. Neither of them was too late to stop it. Mirana's sitting here with a potential Sacred Arrow to throw out as well. This Alchemist needs to be careful. He's not necessarily safe at his tier 2. Especially with the double damage on this Storm, this is going to be trouble.
Storm is having a blast this game, and as you just mentioned, Storm coming around. They do see the Shadow Demon right here. So they're going to zap on top of him. He is getting picked off again. Not much you can do in that Electric Vortex, and they're going for more. The arrow slightly off the mark, but Storm, as you said, with the DD, it's going to be enough. And again, they bring down the Alk, and suddenly this Storm snowballing. And this is exactly what UC Davis's draft needs to do, right?
Yeah.
crush LA while they're
like I
still
said,
trying to fall.
you just need to get the Bloodstone and a couple little basic items like your bottle, your wand, maybe a Null Talisman or Oblivion Staff or something on the Storm Spirit, and he can be that initiator for the deep initiation. The axe is really for larger combat initiations, and you leave the Morphling completely alone.
Well, folks, that is going to be the tier 1, maybe even this tier 2. I'm not sure LA have a great way of fighting this right now. We're going to see Axe TP top. Wants to help Morphling deal with this Lifestealer, but he will go on out. And actually, Axe decides to stay in mid because he realizes that the Lifestealer TP'd away.
Yeah, and the Slark was engaging on the Storm. So that was a blinking call onto the Slark. Excuse me, the Slark engaged onto the Storm. Storm was able to just ball lightning away, no big problem, but that put the Slark out of place for the Axe to jump in and call. And that's going to happen again here in just a second onto this Lifestealer if he's not careful.
He is in. Oh, the arrow hits again! How does she keep getting these? This is the second time she's gotten a really beautiful arrow there. They may end up getting denied if they're not careful. They don't. But holy Hannah, this Mirana. Chocobo, I'm gonna remember this. I'm just saying, just adding people to my list of teach me.
Yeah, he's played Mirana already a couple of times in this season, and has done very well on all of them. The Storm Spirit, by the way, against UCD is normally just a blanket ban for most teams, and we're also seeing why. I don't think that this is a fluke. I think this is just a standard play.
Oh, a nice zap forwards, giving it a go, and that will be an easy kill onto the Slark. Despite Slark having... Oh, never mind, we're not done yet. Mirana will go down. Nicely done there in the Radiant Storm Spirit. Blown up. What a wraparound. They should be able to get this Ogre Magi as well. And Axe, he is trying to run on out. He has Blink, so he'll be fine.
Wow, Storm Spirit's already alive again. Did he buy back, or was that just
No,
Bloodstone?
that's Bloodstone charges, right? He had
24 Bloodstone charges will do that, I guess. But he does have his Orchid finished now, so that probably won't happen again.
Oh, and he's just going deep again for... Did they even... They didn't have vision there.
Yeah,
They actually did not have vision there. I am so confused as to how lucky. Axe was nearby, but he wasn't right on top of it. The rage is going to end. You have to be very careful. Oh, they're actually just going to try to run it away. Storm is regenerating, has 17 wand charges as well. But yeah, there was not dire vision. Maybe it just expired as the storm zapped. But I do not believe I saw... Oh, someone may have been D-ward.
Yeah, it looks like there could have been a D-ward. It also looks like the Axe could have caught a glimpse as the Lion came in here. And where's the Lion going to go? The Lion's, of course, going to go up here. So either one of those could have been a realistic way that he got that call. Oh, Storm's doing it again. Not quite able to get there.
It's just really great. He's feeling in control of this map and able to just zap around and get kills, get those Bloodstone charges up again. They're looking now towards top, going on that Slark, who hasn't gotten anything. Just a slight miss, but Storm is still there. They will get this kill.
That probably should have been a moment where he saw that arrow and immediately Dark Pacted, right? Because
it
probably wouldn't have saved his life, but like it might have saved his life. Or even, that might even be a situation where you immediately Shadow Dance and hope to get out of vision, because clearly they know you're there.
Yeah, I think you Shadow Dance and just pray. Morphling going to probably just replicate away after doing a little bit of damage. And... So
Storm's just trying to get those Bloodstone charges that he lost back so that he can take control again. As though this isn't enough control.
A really interesting choice here coming out of Axe, immediately going for the Lotus Orb as opposed to getting the Vanguard and tanking up. Oh my goodness, we catch poor Lifestealer again. And this is just really unfortunate. I think that Radiant, they have some decent vision here, but UC Davis, either through luck or kind of having a good idea of where that vision might be, or playing around it really well.
Well, also, it's easy to play around the vision when your Storm can zip 7,500 units and still have enough mana to kill anybody on your team, right?
Yes,
like,
that would help.
There's no amount of vision that's going to protect you from that, because he can go through your vision without showing up on the minimap long enough for you to even respond. And there's an Arcane Rune available now that he should probably grab, because that is murder in a bottle for a Storm Spirit. It's almost as good as a Regen Rune.
Yeah, I think also in some ways you could argue the Arcane Rune is superior, as you might end up taking some damage, depending on how many you're jumping into. But that's going to be another tier 2, and now there's just one in the top lane left for LA.
Yeah, and
Oh gosh.
I mean, they're still trying, but the Morphling's starting to come online here, too. We haven't even had to talk about Morphling, but he's getting really, really close to a shotgun.
Okay, Storm just did exactly what you mentioned, leaping halfway across the map, and there they go, the pickup on Alchemist.
That Arcane Rune, by the way, is going to expire. Like, nobody's even going to pick it up. Because they didn't know it's there.
How sad does this make you, the loss of efficiency?
Right? It's just, well, they don't even need it, is the thing.
I
Look,
feel
he's
like
already
maybe-
back up to full mana almost.
Maybe sometime in a previous life things weren't terribly efficient. You sound so saddened by it, Golgan. You're like, oh, this Arcane Rune going to waste.
You know, it's just, I can see everything. And as somebody who can see everything, it's very easy to be like, why aren't you doing this thing here? Such as grabbing this Arcane Rune and murdering everybody. But it's difficult to imagine UCLA coming back into this. Right, like, they don't have a response to the Storm. They don't have a response to the Morphling, who has a full Ethereal Blade Linken's and hasn't even been involved so far. He's playing Harvest Moon, right? He can tap in any time. And then suddenly, your Slark, or your Lion, or your Shadow Demon just die.
Storm's actually a bit low here. And oh, the call coming in. There's the Blade Mail as well. Storm does have to be a little bit careful, but he has the Vortex, and they'll get the chop onto Lifestealer.
He had the Bloodstone too, so if it looked like the Vortex wasn't going to be there for some reason, he could have just suicided out, right? Yeah, Lucky, once again, this is a player whose Storm Spirit is routinely honor banned in first phase against UCD. This is probably not an aberration. This is probably fairly normal for this team. You really have to be very comfortable playing into a Storm. If you're going to give, what is he, like 7.2k or something MMR?
Yeah, one of them, was that the over 7k player? Because yeah, there was a player who was over 7,000 MMR, and I was just like, huh, okay.
Yeah, if you're going to give Lucky this hero, you really have to be very comfortable knowing how you're going to ban it, and I feel like UCLA may not have been prepared for what's coming.
I think that they tried to do some work against it. I think the Lion... okay, as I'm speaking of the Lion pickoff, he does get disrupted. So, nicely done. The Linken's is popped here for the Morphling, so he's hexed up. And here comes Lucky, just blows up the Lion with the zip in. Lucky getting a little bit low there, has to be careful. And they might actually take out Axe, but not before he chops off the head. The arrow isn't going to hit here. We're going to see Storm actually go down for 9 seconds, but they have wiped the Radiant lineup, and now there should be, well, there are 2 buybacks actually, 3 buybacks available on UCLA.
They're gonna have to use them if they want their base to remain intact.
But as you said, it's just this Storm is doing so much work, making a lot of space, and yeah, he did go down there, but he has enough Bloodstone charges that he has respawned. If Radiant chase outside of base, they may be in for a nasty surprise. Here comes the Storm Spirit, almost just immediately kills poor Lion, and yeah, that is suddenly Lifestealer against the world. There's still a buyback on 2, but it's so close to when they respawn, I'm not sure that they want to go for that.
If they don't, they lose. And if they do,
well,
they probably, with three, they probably can't defend either. Yeah, I guess Alchemist is pretty good at dealing with supers, but like, this is going to be Rax, it's also going to be Roshan. And what they don't know is it's also going to be a regen rune on that Storm. So those 3 things make it very difficult to see them bouncing back from the Storm, at least down to 15 Bloodstone charges, which is a miracle and a half for them.
I mean, yeah, it's kind of funny, the Bloodstone charge numbers that Storm has sat at, so... And Storm actually doesn't pick up the regen rune because he has ditched his bottle for that Linken's. Make sure that he is more unkillable in these fights.
Yeah, he's going to grab it after the Roche, I assume, and just go kill somebody right away. Roche going on to the Morphling, by the way, who is once again... I mean, he's 5-0 and 6, and we've barely seen him this game.
Yeah, he's doing a really good job of not only staying alive... Okay, I don't think he's going to hit anyone, though.
Oh, he'll find this Lion.
He's got to zap again, otherwise he's going to lose his regen rune. He is letting it regen up some more. He is failing to entertain us. Lucky, come on. You gotta zip again.
He's still got half a regen.
Oh no, he let it end. I'm thoroughly disappointed. I mean, he's going to just set up for the murder onto the lifesteal. That's their target of choice. They will be able to pick him off here. Alk is there, though. Axe getting very low here. Has to be careful, but so is the Alchemist. He's about to go down. He doesn't manage to get dunked, but Storm secures the kill. Only 2 of those poison stacks, and he zips back in onto the Shadow Demon. Slonk now trying to fight up against Storm. Leafinator manages to purge off the silence, and Storm, he's suddenly very, very low. He has a bad dude behind him. Will he go for the... No, he doesn't need it! I don't even know how he lived there. I am just gonna sit over here watching the Morphling.
Boy, do you remember when Bloodstone gave HP and...
Yeah, I know, that's what I was just thinking. I was like, that was changed. It doesn't give HP. What just happened?
Yeah. That would have been that much more disgusting, but this Storm Spirit is just out of control, right? He's got 125% the value of the Alchemist. You don't win against that.
Mirana. No, you're not going to go for the... Oh, it's still a level 1 finger. Oh, I understand, playing. That's the other thing we haven't... We haven't
almost there.
Talked about.
There's a Tome of Knowledge. He'd buy a Tome of Knowledge and he'd get that finger, right? 450? 420? Oh, we'd be 25 experience short. Never mind.
Well, Storm, meanwhile, just gonna murder people. Zaps right over the Lion's Head. Lion not dead yet, thanks to a beautiful disruption save. Oh, he will go down, though. And now Storm, very low on mana, has 20 Bloodstone charges, of course, so he is regenning up like a champion. They're actually gonna stun out Alchemist, and he falls Slock right in the middle of it, trying to make something happen, but he gets blown up. And now Lifestealer entering the fray. Storm will deny himself. Can Lifestealer do anything about the rest of these heroes? No, he's just gonna hop into a creep and try to run away. And Storm is back in 14 seconds.
Yeah, well, to UCLA's credit, they're keeping their opponents occupied. They're not losing another Rex, but they're going to lose everything
objectives. Lifestealer manages to jump onto the Ogre Magi despite the Moonlit Shadow, so a nice pick up there by the Lifestealer. And it does force the other 2 back, but Storm is here again. He will zip forwards. They should just take out this tower, so they're taking less, and there's less vision, but... haven't gone for it yet. And Axe also just kind of standing super up far. Goes in for the call. They're going to try to blow up Lifestealer. Not quite going to work. They finally take out the tower. There we go. Storm going deep. Picks up the Lion. Can he find some more? Manages to Lincoln's block 1. Trying to go into their base. They finally get it with help of Mirana. And this is just dire. Farming the fountain.
Yeah. Oh boy. And they have not taken another lane of rack, so they're basically trying to force UCLA to GG out. And this is always an interesting strategy when you're this far ahead and you know there's really no way that you're going to lose. Trying to frustrate your opponents. Wow. But, you know, Leaf Eater's meme machine is not going to be overly frustrated. If there's one thing to their credit, it's that when you Mirana, or when you offlane jungle Mirana as a routine, right? You don't care that much.
Yeah, I think it's really dangerous to try... Oh, okay, Leafeater going to be taking quite a bit of damage, but does have that ult, and they might be able to get themselves a Morphling. He's very low. Arrow does come out. Morphling, they burn the Aegis there, so that's one good thing going their way. But while this is happening, Storm working to pick everyone off. There's going to be more illusions made, but they've killed the real Alk, and the illusions quickly follow. And this should be the second set of racks coming out for UC Davis. I think that there's a real danger of giving leads away, especially in this scenario where it does feel like folks are a little less experienced, but it's looking hard for this Storm to really throw this one.
I mean, they would have to lose a lot of heroes to fall behind in this game, because Lifestealer and Slark are such momentum-based heroes, right? And Alchemist is very farm-dependent, but he does high-ground defend fairly well, and can bounce back if given a fair amount of gold. But he's also gold-dependent, at the very least, if not momentum-dependent. So with a hero like Morphling, I'll come back to this, because dead...
Well, and I don't know if the Lifesteal is going to make it out. Morphling did a nice trick with the Replicate to catch on up. I'm watching the kill that might never be happening. Where is that waveform? Okay, it's an invis rune. Have fun with that. Hop inside Roche, Lifestealer. Alright, either way, it looks like the Ancient is going down, so this should be the end of game 1.
There's the GG. Interesting that UCLA didn't see fit to call that one, just having fun near there.
They may have also been discussing strategy for the next game. That's a pretty common thing, right?
Yeah, there's a certain amount of that you don't necessarily need or expect 7 or 8 minutes to do that, though, right? Like, I don't know. UCLA routinely just kind of got outplayed there. The UC Davis are clearly one of the top teams that we've been casting so far. And I think for game number 2, you absolutely have to ban that Storm, and maybe even that Mirana in the first phase.
Well, folks, with that, we are going to head into game number 2. So we will see you back here right quick. Please enjoy a word from our sponsors first.
Only $14.99.
Don't miss the call. Download Band. Communication made easy.